Hello and welcome. My name is Raj and I work in customer success here at Refined. Thank you for joining me this morning for this webinar. So today I'm going to take you through our latest upcoming release, which is Refined for JIRA 3.0. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the app is, how you can set it up, and why it could be useful to use in your organization. So please switch off your mics and feel free to write questions in the chat, and then we'll address these in a Q&A section at the end of the webinar. So like some of you might already know, Refined is a theming and structuring app. We make apps for both Confluence and JIRA. Formerly, our JIRA app was just for JIRA Service Desk, and what we allow you to do is create good-looking sites using JIRA and JSD content. And this allows you to have a more enhanced customer-focused user experience. So how do we do this? Firstly, we allow you to theme your instance, and we also allow you to structure it. So you can add customer portals and JIRA projects into categories, which you can then add into sites, which are all populated using content from JIRA and JSD. So this is an example of what a default help center looks like in out-of-the-box JIRA Service Desk. And here's an example of what Refined adds. So this is what we have had in the past, a branded help center. But now we enter a whole new chapter, and Refined for JIRA Service Desk becomes Refined for JIRA. So this new release brings support for JIRA software and JIRA core projects, as well as continued support for JIRA Service Desk. So there's many new features and improvements to current existing features, and there's new support for JIRA in it as well. So this is an example of what a JIRA issue currently looks like. Bear in mind that this will still be how your agents see it and work in it, so we do not change this. But what we do is we expose these projects and issues on a Refined site. So for example, this is what the same issue could look like in a Refined site. And here is an example of what the project could look like. So we have a module that could allow you to report an issue and create an issue. And then we have an open issues module that lets you view the currently open ones. So it's quite an easy to use user interface, which can be exposed to customers and other users in the organization. So let's jump into the instance and I can show you more about how this works. So we go in over here. So as always, once we release the app, it will be available on the marketplace. So you search for Refined and then you can install the trial. For now, it's still in beta. We are releasing a new beta every week, and I'll give you a link to this at the end as well. So for now, it's uploaded via the Manage Apps section. Also note that since this webinar is being done using a beta version, there might be some changes that are made before the final release, so bear that in mind. But once the app is installed, then you get this screen, which is the Refined configuration, and then we open the administration section by clicking on this. And this is the first new feature in Refined for JIRA 3.0. We have implemented a standalone admin UI. So in this UI, we have 5 different tabs. We've got the site builder, themes and styles, images, permissions, and JIRA Service Desk. So I'll go through each of these one by one. We start off with the site builder. So this works the same way that it has been in previous versions. This is where the structure and navigation of your sites are set up. We've made some improvements here, which I'll take you through. So to add a site, you click on the button as you were before, and then you can add the name of your site, the URL path. You can choose whether it will be a start site for groups or for anonymous users. A cool new feature in 3.0 is we've added a new navigation option. So you can either have the classic breadcrumbs menu or you can have a content menu. And this is a drop-down menu that you populate using either JIRA Service Desks, JIRA Project, or you can add custom links to it. You can also set permissions on each site. So you can set the view permissions either for anonymous users, for logged in users, or groups. And one of the cool new things is now you can also add site admins. So I can either set a user as a site administrator, or I can set a user group. And site administrators, they can administer their site, and what this means is they can manage categories, they can add projects and links, and they can edit the layouts on these sites. And then of course you have the theming option, where you can set an independent theme on your site, or use the global parent theme. So as you can see on this instance, I've already set up a number of different sites. And I'm going to use the Compass Answer Hub for this demo. So editing the site brings up the same dialog box that you would get when adding the site, the same options. And to include content on the site, you use the plus button. Then you can choose to add a category. And categories are a way of grouping together JSDs and JIRA projects, and you can add links under them. And they are also landing pages. So they have layouts which you can add modules to for different purposes to guide your users and to give them information. So you can also set permissions on a category, and you can set a theme on it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this category has been set up. So it's an internal staff category with a staff service desk under it. And if I go into edit that, you can see that there's a permission set up on it for the internal staff group. So to include JIRA projects, you hover on the plus sign again, and then you come down and click on that. And then you'll be able to see all the JIRA projects on your instance which are not already included on a site. So for me, I have the 2 of these that I haven't included yet. Under the customers category, I've already included a customer service desk, a JIRA software project, and a custom documentation link. And that's also done with the plus sign. So I can choose to add a link, name it, set the URL, and set permissions on it. And of course, using the same plus, you can also add a link in the main structure. So this will be in the main menu. In 3.0, we've also added a few tips on the right-hand side to guide you along as you set up your navigation, your structure. So if you want to know how to edit a site, you can click on that, and we bring up some dialog boxes to help you along. All right, let's go into the next tab. So the themes and styles. So the improvements we've made here include an updated inbuilt theme editor with a better UI, easier theming options, and changes in real time. So the new theme editor is built in Vue. This makes it faster and more responsive. So of course, I have the possibility to add a global logo if I wish to. And then I have all the themes. I've created quite a number on this already. And here is the button you can use to create a theme. So if I jump in to edit one of these, I have options for edit, rename, export, copy, and delete. So if I build a super nice theme, for example, on a test instance, I can export it and then import it on a production instance. So I'm going to jump in and edit one of these just to show you what that looks like. So when you create a theme or when you edit the theme, you're in the same theme editor. So this is what it will look like. We have 2 different contexts, which is portal, and portal means all the layouts. So the site home, the category home, the customer portal home, and the JIRA project homes. And then we have the request. So if you go into the main appearance section on the right hand, you have different options for the layout. So you can have a full, a half, or just a header. You can customize the header by adding a background color, or if you want, you can have a gradient or upload an image. You can make this transparent or solid if you want to. You can change the font colors, enable a border or a shadow effect on it. We have the same options for the body, which is the background here. You can have a color, gradient, or upload an image. You can choose to position the image differently if you like. And you can add different filters on it. So if I want to add a blur effect, or if I want to make it darker, or if I want to have a monochromatic look, or a vintage filter, you can do that in Refined. Then we have some effects for the content. So if you want to add shadows on it, for example, then you can do that there. And you can also customize the footer with the same background options. So color, gradient, image. You can change the text and link colors and have borders and shadows. Scroll back up and go back. When we come to the customer portal section, we can set the width of this, so you can make it as wide or as narrow as you want to. You can choose whether you want it to fill the background, and you can choose what kind of row style you want with the different sections that you set up on the layout. And I'll go into more detail on layouts when we look at the customer facing side. So you can choose which one you want. I have the separating line on here. And then you can also change where the title position is aligned. So you can have it left, center, or right. And the title position here refers to the section title on the layout. Again, I'll go more in depth on the layouts a little bit later in this webinar. Back once again. On the request page, again, you have the option to change the width. So depending on your use case and how you want this to look, you can have it quite narrow or quite wide. We also have a couple of extra options here. You can change the primary button color and you can change the keyboard navigation color. One of the other cool things we have in the theme editor is we have a history tab, and in this you can see different versions of the theme. So if I make changes to the theme, for example, and then a week or a couple of weeks later I decide that I liked the previous version better, then I can come here and preview it, and if I so want to, I can restore it. And you can also, of course, delete old versions. So if you have a very long list here and you probably won't use the first 50, then you can go ahead and delete them. So I will exit the theme editor now. And let's go to the next tab. So the next one is images, and this is our global image bank. So what you can do here is upload images to this, and these are then available for using in site homes, category homes, and portals, so in the modules on these layouts. And you can also use these images in the themes, so you can have them as the backgrounds on your themes, for example. So when you upload an image, they come to this section, which is uncategorized. You can then choose to create a category, and then you can call this, for example, new images. And you can choose which of your uncategorized images you want to put in there. So for me, I just have the one, and I add that in there. So I've got 3 categories now. And this is quite useful if you want to have, for example, different backgrounds which are branded, and you want all the administrators to use these on modules, then you can add them to a category here, and they will be available across the instance on all the modules that have the option to add images. Let's go back up here. So the next section in the admin panel is the permissions. This is also something new in Refine 3.0. We've now added the possibility to delegate app admin permissions. So previously you had to be a JIRA admin to administer Refined, but now you can administer Refined as a JIRA admin, but you can also delegate Refined administrator permissions. So you can either add that to a user or to a user group. And the Refined administrator will be able to make all the changes and administer Refined here in the Refined admin UI. So they will have access to all of this. They can manage all the theming and manage all the sites. Like I showed you previously in the site builder, we've also added site admin permissions. And under the permissions tab here in Refined admin, you get a summary of all these permissions. So the editing and assigning of the permissions is done on the site itself, but this gives you a super nice overview of what permissions have been assigned on each site. So you can see who the admins are and what the view permissions are. And this makes it quite useful if you have a large number of sites. So you don't have to go into the site builder every time to check. You can get, as the Refined administrator, an overview in this permissions section. Yep, let's go back to the top here. So the final section in the admin panel is the JIRA Service Desk. And the JIRA Service Desk section, as the name suggests, this comes up if you have JSD installed. So now you can actually use Refine 3.0 with just JIRA. You don't necessarily have to have JSD. If you do, then you get this section. And what this has is all the settings in Refine that are related to JSD. So for example, we have the request view. You can choose whether you want to have the comments at the top or the request details. You can choose to display the assignee on each request. We also have the knowledge base settings. So if you have a linked Confluence application, then you can configure it here with these different settings. And we also have some information on how you can work with the knowledge base in Refined. So we have different modules that can use this in different ways. For example, the search and the knowledge base. And I'll show you a little bit more of what these look like and how they work when we go into the layouts. Finally, under the JSD section, we also have a bit of information on recommended links. So this is a refined feature. And what this does is you can add hard-coded links that pop up when a user searches for a particular keyword or keywords. So these can be added either globally or to specific service desks. As an admin, so site admin, refined admin, or JIRA admin, I can view and edit all recommended links, and I'll show you how to do this when we're on the site. As an agent, I can do this on the project that I'm working on or that I have access to. And I'll show you how that can be done now. So if we go up here and to projects, and I'm going to go into the Compass customer service desk. So if the project has been included on a site, then you get this refined icon in the left-hand panel. And this is what it looks like. So you can see that it has been exposed to the site. Navigate to recommended links. And this is where I, as the agent, can set up a recommended link for this JSD project. So I've added one already. You can also view link statistics on your recommended links, so you can see how often they have been clicked. That one has not yet. And as a project admin, or project agent, I can also add announcements to that service desk. So these are quite useful if you have some kind of information or warning or alert that you want to show to all the users that come to that service desk. So for example, I've set up one which says system is currently under maintenance, and I've set it as published so users can see it now, and it's not closable, so it will always be there. I can create another one and say this will be closable, just to show you what that looks like when we go into the project, and I'll make that an info and save that. So you see that's both published and closable. All right, let's go into the site and see what that looks like. So like I said before, I will use this one, the Compass Answer Hub. And I'll drag this a little bit down so you can see a bit better. So that's what the site home looks like. As you can see, I've set up a drop-down menu. And as I had previously set up a permission on the internal staff category, I do not see that category anymore since I don't have the right permissions for it. So it's quite useful if you have content that's specific for a user group, then you can hide that away really easily. So on this site home, I have a search module. I have set up some navigation items to guide users where I want them to go. I've got some call to action buttons within these navigation items. And I've basically improved the UI in the way that I can guide my users to find content really easily. So I'm going to jump into the edit mode to show you what the layout editor looks like. So in the layout editor, we have what we call sections, and those are added by the gray plus sign. Within a section, you can add up to 6 columns. So this completely depends on what kind of content you want to show. Within each of these columns, or within the section as a whole, if you choose not to have more columns, you can add modules. So I will click on that and show you what kind of modules we have on offer. So the first module group is the navigation modules, and as the name suggests, these are modules that are designed to allow your users to be directed to different areas where they need to go. So they're configurable with text, graphics, and with links. I've got some set up, which I can show you already. So if I come into this one, this is a navigation icon. I have uploaded an image to it, set that as a circle, and I've set a link to it. And this is a link that points to the customer category. You can also set external links. So if I want to send them to my website or to my documentation site, or whatever I need to send the users to, I can set the link here. Go ahead and close that. Click on Add Module once more. We also have some content modules. So we have the search highlight, the rich text, and the HTML module. The rich text module can be used to add text content. Very straightforward. We've also got the wildcard HTML module, and what this does is you can add custom code if you want to display some kind of widget that we don't support in our modules, for example, then you can use this to implement that. Do bear in mind that we support the module, but the code within it is the responsibility of the user or the admin that's making it. So if we go into the search highlight module, this is quite a powerful module, so it can be used to search for knowledge base articles from the linked Confluence, for recommended links that have been set up, for request types from JIRA Service Desk projects, issue types from JIRA projects, and for issues that have been created, so JIRA issues. You can choose whether you want to use the default JSD settings, and these are the ones that were set up in the refined admin section, or you can have custom settings. So you enter the Confluence URL of the linked application. You can enter the spaces that you want to search, and you can add multiple spaces if you like. And then we have options to add a background image. So if I click this, we will have all the images that have been uploaded on the instance available, and we also have the global images. So I had categorized them into new backgrounds. They're available here, the module backgrounds, and the fresh new category that I created earlier. So I can also choose to set the height of the module, so depending on what I need to do. And we have a few different configuration options here concerning the search box theme, background color, and the text color. So before I leave let's go into the next modules group. We also have the JIRA Service Desk modules. So we've got popular service desks, recent request types, which show for me as the logged in user, which are the request types I have used most recently. The My Requests module, the Request Types module, which is configurable with a portal ID. So this is a JIRA Service Desk portal, and then it pulls the request types from there. And we have also got the knowledge base. So I'm going to show you a little bit more on these modules when we come to a customer service desk. So this can be configured with the Confluence URL of the linked application, of course, the different spaces that I want to display articles from, the labels, and I can also have number of items. So I'll go ahead and close this and take those away. So with the JIRA integration, we also have two JIRA modules. So we have the JIRA issues, and this shows, according to what I have selected here, and according to the filter, it shows the currently open issues. And I'll show you a bit more of what that looks like as well. We also have the issue types module. I specify a JIRA project ID on this, and then I can create issues for that project using this module. So I will go ahead and take these away and close that. So that's how I've set up the site home. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the customers category to show you how that looks. So on this, I have a search again, and then I have three different navigation items, which have been set up with links. And this is what the My Requests module looks like. So the editor on the category home works exactly the same way as on the site home. It's the same sections, the same way of adding columns and adding modules. One of the cool things as well, which I missed before, is that you can set titles on sections, and you can also set permissions on these. So this is something that we've had before, but one of the new things we've added is that now you can set that a section will only be viewed by anonymous users. And this could be quite useful if you have some kind of information or some kind of prompt for non-logged in users to view, and then once they log in, that goes away. So I'll go ahead and close that. So let's take a look at what a JIRA Service Desk project looks like. So if I go onto this one, the Compass Customer Service Desk, and as you can see, I previously had set up these two announcements on the project side as an agent. This one is closable, so I click on the X and that's gone. And this other warning announcement is not closable, so that will always be there. If I scroll down, I've got a search, I've got the request types module, I've got some knowledge base articles, and I've got the my requests right at the bottom. Similar to the site and category homes, the layout is created in the same way. So you can add modules with the request types. I have set up the columns and the portal ID. Since this is on the JIRA Service Desk project, it picks those requests automatically. If I wanted to have it on a site or category home, then I could specify a different portal ID, or if I want to have requests from a different Service Desk project. We have the knowledge base, and I've set this up to search a particular space, and then of course the my requests. So I can go ahead and create a request and show you what that looks like. So if I pick suggest improvement, for example, and we say we want more images, I get a pop-up of articles that might help. I'll go ahead and create this. So this is what the request would look like. All right, let's take a look now at the JIRA project. So I come to Compass Software Project and open that. And again, the same editor. So it's created in the same way. The layout is created in the same way. On this, I've set up an issue types module where I can create issues. And then I've got an JIRA issues module. So this shows me a list of issues. And I can go there, and we have 11 of them. So I'll go ahead and create an issue to show you what that looks like. So let's go for an improvement here as well. And we can say add more modules. So I have all these different fields. These are optional, so I don't need to fill them in. Of course, it depends on how you have set up your JIRA project as well. I can change the priority and make this high. I could assign this to a user, so I can assign it to myself and create. And here we have the JIRA issue. So I can edit the description if I want to. I can say this is urgent. I can add comments. And I can choose whether these are restricted to admins or available for everyone. And then of course I can change the status of the issue. So I can change it to in progress, in review, and done. Cool. So I'm going to show you how the search works a little bit as well. So like I said before, the search results are populated using knowledge base articles, recommended links, request types, issue types, and issues. So if I search for bug, for example, then this is what I would get as the result. So I have a recommended link that I've set up before. I've got a linked knowledge base article that's related to the search term. I have an issue that has been created that's already open about it. I've got a service desk request, and I've got a JIRA issue, an issue type, I mean, where I can create or submit the issue. Yeah. I'll now show you how, as an admin, I can add recommended links and announcements, similar to how the agent could on the project. So I click on the cog, and then I have the different admin options, which are in the refined admin UI. And then I have recommended links and announcements. So I can go ahead and start with recommended links. And the main difference here is, as the admin, I can select what context I want them to appear in. And by this, I mean where on the instance I want the link to appear. So I can go ahead and show you how this works. So I add in a title and a URL and the matchwords, and then this is what the key difference is. So as a refined or JIRA admin, I can choose what the context is. So I can have it globally, or I can add it on a particular site, or a category, or a service desk project, or a JIRA project. So I'll go ahead and close that. And for announcements, it's quite similar again. And the key difference as compared to what the agent can do on the project is, again, that they can choose the location, so where this will appear. So I can put one in here just to show you how that looks like. That's on global. And there we go. So this appears everywhere since I've set it up as a global announcement. And then I can click that away. Cool. So the last thing that I want to show you is the user avatar menu. So in previous versions, we've had the My Requests tab somewhere over here. What we've done now, since we have JSD and JIRA support, we've consolidated both My Requests. I'll drag that down a bit. We've consolidated My Requests and Issues under this one menu. So I, as a logged in user, will be able to see my support requests that I've raised, and I will also be able to see the JIRA issues that are assigned to me, that have been reported by me, and that are watched by me. And we've had the red highlight on the issues assigned and on my requests, since those are the key, or the most key things that the logged in user would usually want to see. So if I go ahead and click on my requests, then I get this list of the requests that I have open. I can choose to see closed requests as well if I want, but by default, this shows you your open requests. If we go ahead and take a look at issues assigned to me and click on that, then I get a nice looking list of JIRA issues that are assigned to me. I can change this again to reported by me and be able to see all of these. And I can see the ones that I'm watching as well. So that's about it for what I have to show you today. So the app it's fairly easy to use and set up. I encourage you to install it and try it out. We currently have a beta version that we update every week on our documentation. I'll send you a link to that after this webinar. Note that it's advisable to install this in test, not in production. We expect to have a release candidate out sometime before Christmas, and then the final release sometime in the beginning of next year. So yeah, try it out, play around with it, and let us know what you think. And for now, let's go into a summary of what we've looked at. So we've got the new features in 3.0, which include the standalone admin UI, the theme editor improvements, the ability to add links to the site structure, the new drop-down navigation menu, and of course the big one, being able to expose JIRA projects to the refined site, and a lot more little tweaks. So now let's take a look at the questions that you've got for us. So I'm gonna pop this out. So we've got a question about whether the app supports all different custom fields and works with script runner behaviors. For now, we do not support custom fields. And in terms of compatibility, for the initial release, we're supporting default JIRA. We will add compatibility with apps, but this will also be on a needs basis. So it doesn't mean that we will be compatible, but depending on what our customers' needs are and the feedback we get back, we will try to add compatibility for the most used apps. And we also have a question here about...
Sorry, Raj, to interrupt.
Yeah, that's Emil, our CEO.
So sorry, yeah, my name is Emil from Refined. So about the custom fields, we actually are supporting the default custom fields. Custom fields developed by some apps are not supported yet. So if you have a custom field that is not supported, just let us know. So it's partial support for custom fields right now, so we can handle most of the default ones.
Thanks, Emil. So the next question, can we enable or disable it for some JIRA projects only? So the JIRA projects that you include on the site, those are the ones that will be exposed in Refined. So you can have some projects that are not exposed. So for example, if I go back in here, I can show you. If I come to include JIRA projects, these two, for example, they're not exposed through a Refined site. So they're not included. Okay, to the next question. Will it be possible to configure the My Request module for JSD portals in the future? And what about having a My Approvals module? Emil, over to you for this one.
We will add some more customization to the My Request modules, and I think My Approval, I think it's been up for discussion. I'm not really sure what we landed there. It's not in this release, but that's good feedback.
Yeah, thanks for that. And we've got one about JIRA 7 compatibility. I believe that we are compatible with JIRA 7. I'm not sure what the earliest version is that we're compatible with.
7.6.
7.6, there we go. And then
to add to that, we are following the end of life that Atlassian have. So I think 7.6 is the one that Atlassian is supported down to as well.
Cool. And we have one more question here. Is it possible for one same JSD project to have a portal visible to customers and another portal visible to agents that deal with issues created by customers? So let's see if I understand that correctly. You want to have the JSD portal exposed, but then you want to have the same one visible to agents. So what happens in Refined is we expose the customer facing side, but the work done by the agents on the JSD issues is still in the backend, or by backend, I mean in JIRA itself. I hope that answers your question. Yes, seems like, no, there's one more. Is it possible to embed dashboard gadgets in the portal? So I'm assuming you mean the JIRA dashboard gadgets. Yeah. Not out of the box. I guess it might be possible with the HTML module, but it might be fairly complicated to do that as well. Yeah, okay. So since there's no more questions, thank you again for joining us for this webinar. We'll email over a link to our documentation page that includes, yes, that has the beta download, so you can download that, try it out. And we'll also send a copy of the webinar once we have uploaded this later on. Thank you again, and have a nice day.